Labour host a meeting for MPs committed to stopping a no-deal Brexit. The Brexit Party is announcing hundreds of party members who could become MPs if they win seats in a general election.
That's a bit later today, but with the latest polling figures predicting the Brexit Party could get just 13% of the vote in a general election if it was called now. That means no seats at all in Parliament. Would they be better off throwing their support behind Boris Johnson's government to achieve their stated goals of delivering a hard Brexit?
Well, joining us now is Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage. Good morning
to you.
So when we look at those latest poll results, 13-14% doesn't translate into any seats at all. This is a lot of effort, bearing in mind that your motivation, your raison d'etre, is to see Brexit through. Would you not be better, therefore, supporting Boris Johnson and the Conservatives to make sure that Brexit does happen, rather than splitting that vote?
19 weeks ago, we launched the Brexit Party. Why? Because we trusted Theresa May, we trusted the Conservative Party to deliver Brexit. They didn't do it, so I formed the Brexit Party. We won the European elections. We reset the agenda. I mean, if we hadn't been formed, Theresa May would still be Prime Minister. Now, Boris Johnson has picked up all the lines we used in that campaign.
You must be pleased about that.
And, yeah, because we're winning. We've completely reset the British agenda. And, of course, now, no deal, leaving with a clean break Brexit is the most popular option. However, we now find ourselves in a very similar position to that with Mrs May. Boris has won the leadership, telling us he will take us out on the 31st of October. But what he's done in the last week is he's gone back to Brussels and clearly he wants to reheat the failed withdrawal agreement that was 3 times rejected by the House of Commons. And if we leave...
But without the backstop?
Even without the backstop, it's still the worst deal in history. Even without the backstop, it costs us £39 billion. It makes it virtually impossible for us ever to leave the customs union. We will not be a free, independent nation. So we are standing, and we will stand in every seat in this election. And we're saying to Boris Johnson, if you sell us out on Brexit with this awful withdrawal treaty, we will fight you in every seat.
Nigel, if you're right in that analysis, why is it that your poll figures are dropping and his figures and the Conservative Party's figures are rising? If he's actually pulling a fast one and he's going to give us Theresa May's reheated deal...
Because people haven't realised yet.
So we're too stupid to see it?
No, because it's too early. This only began to happen last week, and you've got the loud noise says we'll leave with no deal on the 31st of October. If you actually look at what is being said by Macron, Merkel, by Boris Johnson, Boris in a letter last week said it was his highest priority to get a withdrawal agreement. We want a clean break Brexit.
Even if you're right in this analysis, and you may not be, but even if you're right, do you not feel that your party's peaked? I mean, you had the Peterborough by-election, close but no cigar, extraordinary result, amazing result, and a personal triumph for you. But that was then, that was a few months ago. It all seems to be sliding downhill for you.
Look, we want Brexit to happen, all right? We are, and today, you know, we're announcing we've got 635 men and women who've passed their assessments and will be standing for us in the general
None of whom would
election.
win, judged by the poll today, 13%.
Well, no, you can't judge that. The Liberal Democrats got fewer votes than that last time and won seats. It's not as simple as that. But what is important is that a lot of people will not go back to Boris Johnson and the Conservative Party, whatever they say, because trust has been broken. If Boris Johnson is sincere, it's back to your earlier question, if Boris is sincere in wanting a clean break Brexit, what's going to be the future of a party that may well bring about the biggest historic change in our constitution for 300 years?
What else have you got as a party
political
apart
reform,
from Brexit?
Political reform, getting rid of the House of Lords, modernising our entire electoral system. We've already said we think British Steel ought to be taken back into state hands. It's a major strategic asset because we can't do it because EU rules prevent us. And interestingly, if this deal, this withdrawal agreement that Boris wants to get through, we would never be able to do it.
Can I vault forward to mid-October? And let's say, as many commentators are saying now, we do have a general election before October the 31st. And let's say that the Conservative Party's manifesto up front, the number one on the manifesto is, we will leave without a deal. That's what we're campaigning for. We're going to leave without a deal. Your fox has been shot. There's nothing you can say, is there?
My fox has been shot so many times over the years, you wouldn't believe it. When David Cameron said there'd be a referendum, I was told the fox had been shot. You know,
address that point.
The Conservative Party are part of the Remain establishment, all right? They're under new leadership. They're singing a different song. We don't yet know whether they're genuine or not. But if the Conservative Party was to stand with Boris Johnson as leader saying that, here's the important thing. They cannot win without the support of the Brexit Party.
So would you do a deal with them? In those circumstances?
Absolutely, of course. We'd work with anybody, whether it's the Conservative Party or certain people in the Labour Party who hold the same view. We'd work with anybody to get the right result.
I want to be
but
really
what we
clear
will
on
not
this.
do, what we will not do,
Yeah.
is stand aside and watch Brexit be betrayed for a second time.
Absolutely. You wouldn't stand for a fudge. That would be completely
That's
against
right.
what your party stands for. Right, let's get this absolutely clear. If the Tory party goes into a general election saying we're leaving without a deal because the time for a deal has passed, we're going without one, you will do deals in constituencies...
Our support and the Conservative support together would be unstoppable, and Boris Johnson would win a very big majority.
So you wouldn't stand against Conservative
I would
candidates?
put country before party, of course, in those circumstances.
So you do deals and you say, we'll stand here,
Absolutely.
you stand there.
Whichever way it cut, yes.
Right.
Are you personally going to be standing as a candidate?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm leading the party, so I will.
How confident are you? Because you've tried 7 times before to be an MP, and that's never been successful.
I've also won 2 national elections with 2 different parties, which nobody in British history has ever done before. So you can pick and choose people's successes and failures.
Where are you going to stand? Well, you are going to stand.
To be announced.
Oh, go on. Today?
To be announced.
Today?
Not today.
Now's the moment. You could do.
No, it's not. Now's the moment to say we've got 635 men and women ready for this fight, and as we showed in the European elections, we've got very high-calibre people, not career politicians, people from all walks of life, and we are ready.
I'm not going to ask you when did you last see your father, but when did you last speak to Boris Johnson?
Oh, not for some months.
Months?
Yes.
OK. Do you not take his calls, or is he not calling?
Oh, no, at the moment, they don't think they need us. At the moment, they think that Boris's popularity, Boris saying all the right things, mean the Conservatives can race and win the next general election. Look at the poll numbers. There's been a Boris bounce, but it isn't very big. And once the public realise that he's trying to reheat Mrs May's deal, the worst deal in history, they'll start going down.
When did you last speak to President Trump? Because, you had a good relationship with him. Now it seems that Boris might have stolen your thunder on that one. They seem to be getting on very well.
Good. He wrote that it would lead to us effectively becoming a slave state. On the 3rd time of asking, despite everything Boris Johnson had said, and twice having rejected it, he voted for it. And that raises the question, can you really trust Boris Johnson?
You have personally changed the landscape in this country, without question. We wouldn't have had a referendum had it not been for your campaigning. Brexit changed things a few months ago. We can debate whether or not that's going to continue. Do you see something of a kindred spirit in Boris Johnson? Because whatever else you may say about him, he has changed the landscape in the last 2 weeks.
No, because Boris Johnson chops and changes. You can't twice vote against the new European treaty and the 3rd time vote for it and present yourself as being a sincere Eurosceptic.
No.
What Boris Johnson has done, he's brought some energy to the job of being Prime Minister. He's brought some optimism to the job of being Prime Minister. And he's right now publicly saying the right things. That's terrific, but his track record suggests we may not stay there.
Do you like him?
Oh, yes. No, look, he's a highly entertaining character, bright guy, and, we need more personalities in politics.
Would you be, if he won the election, would you be a minister in his cabinet without portfolio?
Listen, I'm not interested in being a minister. I'm not interested in ranks and titles. I want to try. I've tried for 25 years. I want to change the course of direction of this country. We're well down the road towards getting Brexit, towards being independent, but I fear there's a lot more work to do, and that may well mean a general election this autumn.
Nigel Farage, thank you very much.
And thanks for coming in to see us in the studio as well.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. Thank you.